baby, we're all looking for group and we're back once again. It's a nice little Monday morning. Or no, it's not Monday. It's Wednesday, according to my calendar over here. I don't know what fucking day it is because honestly, it doesn't really matter. At least it's a weekday. A weekday is where the fun stuff happens. Weekends where boring shit happens. And I'm here for the fun shit. And there's plenty to discuss today as stock market hits new all-time highs. Fucking surprise, surprise. Holy shit. It's been a bull market. We've been calling this a bull market, and it is going to actually even very likely go much, well, I don't know about much higher, but, you know, we're probably in like the last kind of throes of this and still looking at end of year for a major top in this market. Maybe even a macro top, but definitely a major top. And as the title does imply, it's fucking 1999 all over again, baby, as semiconductors lead this whole market up and to the right in a very parabolic and impressive fashion. Pretty damn impressive, man, and something, you know, of a sight to behold. There is indeed a bull market going on somewhere, always, and yeah, you can see right here the SOXX, just a semiconductor ETF, or you know, basically the main indice for semiconductors. I mean, this is just fucking vertical at this point. Like it really is like 1999. It's kind of insane. In fact, on this particular chart, we actually don't even have data from 1999, but I can assure you what happens after that is pretty fucking ugly, and perhaps we're in for some hurts after that. But for right now, the sun is shining. Go out there, make some hay, or do your farming, or I don't know, what's the saying? Like you farm when the sun is shining, and then you get more shit. Whatever. You get the fucking point, right? You get the fucking point. In that, look, things are looking good right now, man. Ride it while it's riding, and then be aware that yes, indeed, all good things must come to an end. But for right now, it's good. It's fucking good, man. And many things are good in traditional markets. So I don't really see any reason to kind of, back off from that narrative. I still see the usual suspects being bearish as fuck, which is, as always, a very comforting signal. And, well, I mean, that's all I got to see. That's the analysis of today. Anyways, like I said, many things to talk about, not just in traditional markets, but of course in Bitcoin as well. Bitcoin did hit, I believe, the meta signals target now of 82,900. Let's see, how high did that rally get up last night? Very close, 82,814 on the index here. Maybe something like Bitstamp got up there. No, not quite. Still about $100 shy of that target. So has not been hit just yet. But yeah, you know, when it gets close enough like this, I do think that you will not just officially hit it, but there is good reason to believe that Bitcoin probably tries a little bit higher. But again, I am starting to, or I'm going to start to, you know, be a little bit more cautious on Bitcoin because it is starting to hit the bottom end of our targeted zone. This is a targeted zone that we've been having for the past month now, maybe even a month and a half. So I do think that if you're joining, if you're getting onto this channel right now and you haven't really been following for the past couple months, and you're kind of joining at like a late moment for this current rally. Again, do I think it goes higher? Yes, I do. But I do think that the majority of these gains are done for this current rally. And if you're trying to join in right now, you're probably chasing a bit of fumes. I think at best this rally gets to like $87,000 again for Bitcoin. We'll go over what that looks like a little bit later. But I do have a few announcements before we get into it. What's up, Mr. Peter Underwood? He's saying quantum wavebands 1 hour new trade. Yeah, I haven't checked in on the quantum wavebands for a couple of weeks actually. The focus has been on the Revenant Ribbons recently, but these things are still fucking super valid. It's just the Revenant Ribbons are the new thing, and honestly, just the Revenant Ribbons are so fucking well done. I know I keep on showing them pretty hard, but like I pretty much do all of my short term and medium term analysis on Bitcoin with that. It's really all that I need. And yeah, it did open up a trade right here. Maybe it scalps up and moved to like 82.5, 82.3, something like that. But holy shit, I had a big winner right here. God damn, 77,800 on that higher low, beautifully closing, just above $80,000. Not bad for an hourly trade. And yeah, I just do want to call attention to this while we are here. I got to give massive credit to the not the Revenant Ribbons, but the quantum wavebands, because not only has it made new all-time highs on the equity curve, it's made significantly new all-time highs now. And again, I just want to speak to the long-term, or not necessarily the long-term people, because this is a short-term strategy. But when it comes to playing out a strategy, when you have an edge in your favor, all you need to do is just be consistent with it. And over time, trust in the statistics, trust in the edge. And yes, it will generally return positive results. And you can see the same thing over and over again here. It has periods of intense growth, intense gaining, followed by periods of intense sideways, not much going on. And I fear that a lot of people who got into this thing around about last year, especially around about August of last year, you basically saw no gains. In fact, you generally saw, these shallow losses right here and a big loss coming off of the reversal from January, actually. But ultimately, it did get reaccumulated and it did march upwards and onwards. It's kind of like a chart of a nice healthy asset in that, you get these sideways consolidations, step up, sideways consolidations, step up. And yeah, I saw a lot of frustration with that. I totally understand, especially for newer people, you just haven't gotten used to it. You don't understand because you don't have that experience with it. And I'm not talking down to these people. It's a natural response. I get it. You go through fucking like 6 months long of basically not doing shit way more than 6 months. That would be more like close to 9 months, I think. Long without, basically not have any real gains, or at the very best, kind of just, spinning your wheels sideways. And then yes, over time it does have, those nice explosive gains once again. So just is what it is, man. And again, just another sort of testament to the fact of long-term edge. Again, this is probably the lowest time frame that we'll look at today, like I did say, but yeah, I do have a couple of announcements, like I did say, at the beginning of this video. I'll read through some of these comments here first, because we got a lot of good ones. Rabies. Yeah, confuse me. It always seems to come out like that. Good morning from Canada. Fuck yeah, man. Good morning to you. It's the hat of America, and perhaps even the 51st state if you live over there in Alberta, apparently. Dead Reckoning says, can you look at CGNX? We'll get to the shitcoin request a little bit later. Probably not a shitcoin, but I mean, today, honestly, there's probably a lot of shitcoins that are having some pretty epic rallies here. The question is, where do you short them? But things can go obviously higher. I looked at ZEC this morning on my Twitter account, and I was very impressed by this one, actually. In fact, I just, I know we looked at it, I think it was on Monday and also last week, and we were saying, hey, this thing probably goes like 500 to 550. It didn't just hit those targets. It fucking smashed through those targets. It looks like the high of the day is already 600. I mean, for fuck's sake, man, pretty impressive move right there for sure. But let's see, what's trust without hate? What is trust without hate? What's up, Mr. Asia Massage? Good morning to you, man, and Crane C. As always, good to see you, man. Dead Reckoning, we are there. I know, man. I'm just talking shit, man. Hal 9000 says AUR pumping. Well, I'm sure we'll look at a lot of these things later. Asti's here. We got Lumbocella Azul, Risky. Good morning to you guys. Peter Underwood, fuck yeah, always good to see you, man. Tom London, hoy hoy again. And War, I like War. War is good. And Zonker, good morning, Tim, man. Good fucking morning to you guys. Yeah, so as far as a quick announcement here, I'm going to bring this up. We haven't fully solidified everything just yet, but as I did just briefly announce on Monday, I've been training an AI to basically go in detail with my long-term investments for analyzing them, both just from a technical standpoint, from a sort of inflection standpoint, and also from a quantitative standpoint, as well as even a fundamental standpoint and just like a general market overview standpoint. I've been working on this now for a few months very consistently, and obviously it's been using the frameworks that I've been building over the past 15 plus years at this point. So really, I mean, it's, I guess, a longer project than that, but I've started to really systematize it and put it into an AI that can kind of spit out what I am so far seeing as like really fucking good analysis. In fact, I can pretty much look, I shouldn't say this, but I have been pretty much relying on this for the past month or so now, just to kind of, give me a quick analysis when I need it. But of course, I still iterate on it. Anyways, because I realized that, at some point we very likely will sell this in the sense of like, we will have like a low dollar amount sort of subscription sort of service thing where you can basically prompt it with the chart and get a nice output for long-term analysis, for long-term investment purposes. I am going to build it with sort of a public person in mind. And I do think the best way to kind of go forward from here, because I think I've pretty much done everything that I can do with it as of right now. But I also understand that there's going to be a lot of edge cases, a lot of nuanced situations, of course, when people, if we make it public, what I'm going to likely do is I'm going to have a, kind of like a private group, I guess, even though these things have like terrible connotations, but just hear me out first. I'm probably going to have like a small private group, like super small private group, like 10, 12 people at most, I would say, maybe in like June for 3 months long, like a 12-week long cohort, something like this. And I want to work like super, super closely with these people so that I can basically, honestly, I'm just going to appropriate their questions to basically put in the chatbot and figure out, these sort of nuanced situations, work with these people and figure out, what we can do with that, make it better. I'll probably do that June. I'm just giving a quick announcement right now. Again, nothing set in stone. If you are interested, and I don't really want to have a wait list, but we might have a wait list, I guess. You can email elsa.crowntradingoutlook.com to get on it. But again, probably 10 to 12 people at most. And we're going to price it in like an offensive way, honestly. I don't want many people getting into it. And there's a certain type of person who I do want getting into it. Because honestly, the value for me is to get these people to ask me like really fucking good questions, basically, so that I can train this model with stuff that I don't already, have. Basically, I want people asking like very high consciousness questions that I just haven't come across myself because I'm working with my own brain. Anyways, that's it for that. Like I said, I'll have more information on this over the course of the rest of this month, depending upon, when we want to position this. But if I do it, it's going to be early June, maybe July at latest. Anyways, like I said, we shall, Crypto G just said, GM Krown, I won the literal lottery recently. Holy shit. Well, are you serious? That's cool. Fuck yeah, man. $1 million after tax. Not bad. I'll take it. If you won 1 million, what would you do with the money? I would immediately invest it, man. I don't know if I would immediately invest it, but I would invest the overwhelming majority of it. Especially in today's day and age, in boring stuff. You want that money to work for you. You don't want to be one of those statistic pieces that, you win the lottery and then you basically lose all of it and end up worse over time. I mean, that is just the worst fucking possible scenario. So I would say the best way to kind of avoid that is to invest it. Don't invest it in fucking shit coins. Don't invest it in even singular stocks. Take the overwhelming majority of it. If I was in this situation, I'd take 60 to 70% of it and throw it into boring ETFs. Boring ETFs like WTI, VOO, these sort of things. And, in triple Qs. That would be the overwhelming majority of it. And then for the last 30% or 10%, I'd keep in cash, use for your expenses, assuming that you need it. If you don't, then I would still probably leave it in a money market account. And the rest 20%, if you want to go punt on some singular stocks, fucking go for it. But don't let yourself turn into one of those stats, man. It's really, really sad to see, many people who win the lottery turn up like depressed and broke again is what the studies do show. So be careful with that, man. Hopefully that's not your situation. Hopefully, you've had previous experiences of actually managing money, or at least, being like responsible with money. Because honestly, if you win the lottery and you don't have good money habits, it's going to go as soon as you fucking make it, man. Especially in today's day and environment. I just can't fucking highlight that enough, man. If you keep it in cash, you're going to be losing. If you buy, obviously dumb shit, you're going to be losing. The best way to set yourself up long term, fucking invest it in the boring shit, let time work for you, and keep a little bit on the side if you do need for expenses in the next, 5 to 10 years. Congratulations, man. You won the literal fucking lottery. Almost no one gets to say that. Please do not become one of the statistics. I feel like I probably care about this more than most people who actually win, but it makes me like legitimately sad. It makes me legitimately sad. Anyways, let's go over some Bitcoin analysis. Let's go over some traditional market analysis. Basically, when it comes to traditional markets, same shit of what we've been saying before. Still bullish, still overall upside implied. Still looking at this rally over the next, I don't know, maybe it takes a few months. Maybe it happens like in the next couple months. Maybe it happens around end of summer, but I'm still looking at it at least getting up to 77.30 for the Fibonacci extension right there, with probably another stop along the way at about 74.60-ish region. So, in the short term, I do think that we have a little more upside. This is still a runaway rally. We did look at this on Monday and Tuesday saying, hey, this thing is stair-stepping up. Just let it float to the upside. Don't overthink these things. I see this all the time across, especially Twitter and even in the Discord, man. Even in the Discord with people like, honestly, who should know better. Don't try to overthink this market right now. It's one of those markets where fucking retards make money. You can be retarded and make money. Retard max to maximize profits. I'm telling you right now, it's one of those times where you don't need to be a fucking genius. Just throw a dart at the board. It's going to be okay. It's probably going to be okay, but also recognize that we are in very likely the last throes of this bull market. So during the last throes of the bull market, things go crazy. Things go really fucking crazy, like super fucking crazy. You see the most amazing returns during these times, but you have to be extremely not greedy in order to actually take profits, because at some point it will turn around. It'll turn around very, very fast. And let me tell you exactly what you're probably going to feel during that time. When it turns around, it's going to be very volatile, very fast. You're going to immediately say, I can't sell now. My portfolio was just at $100,000 and now it's down to like $70,000. We just had like a quick 30% downside move. Okay, maybe it's not that bad, but you get the idea. Look, I'm telling you, just fucking sell on that next bounce. Do not try to overthink it. Do not hold. You're not going to get that full value. Whatever your account, whatever is the all-time high of your account's value is not going to be what you actually pull in from that. Get that out of your fucking mind. It's not a real value. It is not. It is not real. It's just fictional numbers on a screen. Your job is to capture, if you can, 80% of that. That would be a fucking massive win. I'm telling you, once these things turn around, around, it's like the biggest account killers. People hold on to these things, think that they're going to go back up, and they probably do go back up, but that might be 10 to 15 years after the fact. It's very possible. But yeah, for right now, still bullish over here, and the price action pivot actually moving up significantly in this case to 7,200. So I'm not even short-term bearish on this shit until you come back down below 7,200. Below 7,200, you might see a correction down to 6,950. Still bullish on a higher term time frame as long as you're above there. But the second they start to really close, weeklies or monthlies below that number, yeah, this market is topping. But I don't think that that's happening right here. This is a runaway rally for SPY in particular. It is a higher low, and you're getting your first sort of expansion drive from extremely low BBWP reads, only comparable to literally more than 10 years ago back over here in 2015. So again, this is the last major fucking move. I really do think so. I'm still looking at end of year for this one to find its top. Anyways, moving on to Bitcoin. Of course, we did see the official cross between the red 5 EMA and the yellow 21 EMA yesterday. So that green 55 EMA is now a beautiful minimum target for this rally. That is somewhere around just below 85,000 bucks. Obviously, Bitcoin already did hit. Hold on, I'm on the wrong screen right here. Let me go back to this. Bitcoin did hit target number 3, or more or less target number 3 for meta signals. Technically, it was about a little bit less than $100 under that for right now. I think that you will officially hit it in the shortish term here, but keep in mind Bitcoin is going to start to brush up against some major moving averages. The daily 200 simple, which Bitcoin hasn't seen since October of last year. So how long is that? Three? That's 7, 8 months. 8 months, 7 months. I don't know how to do math. Okay, I'm fucking redacted too. It's been a long time. All right, it's been a long time. You're going to see some volatile moves here. Like I made a post about yesterday as well on Twitter or X or whatever the fuck you want to call it. The ATR for Bitcoin at this point is like 1,300 or 15. It's like $1,500 or even closer to 2,000, I think, at this point. So when you do see Bitcoin swing around, it's going to look very fucking volatile. It's going to look very violent and nasty, but that is par for the course. I mean, you're seeing Bitcoin essentially resolve a range right now that has been ongoing since February of this year. And you're gonna see some quick ups and downs here, really. So like basically what I'm trying to say is like a $2,000 move for Bitcoin here is nothing. According to the Rev and Ribbons, and even the mid band is all the way at like 78,150. That's the fucking mid band right now. So as long as Bitcoin's above there, it is technically bullish. Below there, you get your first sort of major red flags that a reversal isn't coming. Obviously, for right now, a full-on reversal is confirmed on Bitcoin if it does take out that previous higher low from late April here at 75,300. Oh, and by the way, big announcement with Rev and Ribbons. We did just make a private Discord channel for the Rev and Ribbons owner, so you can talk directly with the generator of it, Revan himself, as well as other people who own it. All you need to do in order to claim that is to claim it in the exact same way that you claimed your indicators, but there will be a Discord role that you can claim on the Krown Quant Alchemy website. It's super simple. Just follow the directions. It's over there on Teachable for you if you're unsure. And if you need any help, that's just going to be the best and fastest place to get help for right now. But yeah, you can see the Rev and Ribbons once again kind of sticking in the upper red band. So I'm looking for it to kind of trend within this region for right now. The bottom end of that red band is 80,200. So short-term basing around there is fine. Again, I don't really have any reason to change around my medium-term analysis until Bitcoin's below 78,150 on a daily closing basis. That probably is going to be good enough to get Bitcoin on a reversal. But until then, I'm generally looking for Bitcoin to go a little bit higher. Yeah, the green 55 EMA is, again, a nice area. I won't go over the long term on this video. I don't want to bore you with that right now. But what else do we have while we're here? Yeah, when we go over here to Central Command, funding rates are still negative. Now, they're not as negative as they were for the past couple of days. So again, if you are joining this move, most of it's done. Most of it's probably done. People aren't getting as aggressively short anymore. And so once we see this turn positive again, probably time to really relent on some positions if you have been riding this rally. Again, look, I'm not your fucking dad. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but that's what I would be doing if I were already long into this. Before it was a very easy call to be long. It was a very easy call to be looking for upside, especially when I feel like most of this market and most of the influencers and whatnot were kind of, talking about bearishness and whatnot. But right now, I think that that's starting to subside a little bit. We haven't seen intra-week negative interest rates since, it's got to be more than a couple months now. So yeah, keep an eye on that. And then also when we go over to the terminal here on Central Command, I want to see where the short liquidation levels are at right now, and also even the long ones. Yeah, so long ones are quite interesting here. Sorry, let me just pull this through. me just make sure that you can see it. Okay. Actually, you can't see it because my chats are actually blocking it. So let me get rid of that right there. Oh, and you actually can't even see it that well because, well, fuck it. Anyways, short liquidation levels for 3-day, 7-day, and 30-day all stacked at 83,200 basically. With the 24-hour short liquidation level at 82,550. So again, those numbers are coming up. If you start to see Bitcoin inch its way above 83,200, I'd be expecting another one of those volatile breakouts, or sorry, just volatile continuation moves. At that point, you're probably looking at 85 minimum. I think at maximum, you see about 87 on this rally. To the downside, the long liquidation levels now coming in around 80,000 bucks. So yeah, if Bitcoin starts to lose 80,000 bucks, I would express a little bit of caution there, and then that's fully validated for me if Bitcoin then goes another couple $1,000 below 78,100 in this case and close the daily below there. I would call a reversal right there. And while I still think that your $85,000 target would get hit, or my $85,000 target would get hit, it would first come down and then try that move. It would first come down and then try that move. Also, while we are here, and just, I'll do the hopium thing right now as well. How high could this target really honestly get in like a perfect situation? I guess, well, obviously perfect situation is like a million quadrillion, but in like a realistic situation. So we do have one setup here that has fired off, that's looking pretty good, and has historically been incredibly powerful. It's a super simple setup. We've spoken about it many times on this channel, and I suspect it's getting ready for another one of these stair-stepping up behaviors here on the equity curve. Here are the results for the past 10 years, by the way, which I'll show you really quickly, about a just under 39.25% strike rate to close a positive trade. But again, these are the kind of strategies that I personally like if I like to be a more active trader, like stepping up and then consolidating those gains, basically periods of no gains followed by periods of intense gains. I think you're about to enter into another period of gaining, actually. But this setup is super simple. Anytime Bitcoin closes above that red 5 EMA, open up a long. Anytime Bitcoin closes below that red 5 EMA, close that long. Are there ways to optimize this? Yes, absolutely. But I'm going to keep this super simple because honestly, it doesn't really require that much right here. And this one opened up at 72,900. So basically 73,000 bucks. If we go into the previous iterations, we can actually look at what the average returns for these were. Oh god, they keep on changing around, but the average gain on these winning trades, if I can fucking find it, there we go, is about 37.25% returns. For the losing trades, it's 5.25%, but this one's unlikely to be a loser because even at present, if Bitcoin were to close below the 5 EMA, you're still very likely going to have a pretty big gain, at around 78,000 bucks. Yes, close lower than that, but you get the idea. I mean, ultimately, it'd have to really crash down from here for that to not hold. But anyways, if it does go for those average gains, this actually is best case scenario, and it's kind of contradicting at least my personal views and what I've been saying now for the past month and a half, which is 37% puts Bitcoin at almost basically 100,000 bucks. That puts Bitcoin at 100,000 bucks. And by the way, the timing on that, because there is a time component, on average, these trades take about 10 bars to play out on a 5-day time frame, which is 50 days. And that would put us out into end of this month, basically. Yeah, last week of this month, more or less. So I think that's kind of best case scenario. But of course, this trade gets closed if Bitcoin does close below that red 5 EMA, which as of current is 78,600. That is eerily close to the Rev and Ribbons midband right here, which is 78,150. So basically closing below those numbers, I would negate any sort of short-term continuation and medium-term continuation. I'd be looking for Bitcoin to come back down at a range and probably build up another try later on. Overall, like I said, I personally think that this rally will fail at some point. I'm not necessarily full on bearish on Bitcoin, but I think you get some like this, pop up here, okay, maybe not this exact high, obviously. I'd be looking for a swift rejection, comes back down, scares the ever-living shit out of everyone, bases again somewhere between 65 and 70,000 bucks, and that's probably going to be your next like macro high or low if we get something like that. If we get something like this, I'd be extremely bullish coming into, I guess this would be end of year. Yeah. Timing on that would actually make a lot of sense too. But, this is just an idea. I can easily be wrong on these LARP lines. I mean, they are LARP lines for a reason. It's just fucking LARP bullshit. But yeah. Anyways, cool. I think we've gotten through kind of what I want to speak about on Bitcoins and the old traditional markets here. Yeah, let's get on over into some snooper chats. some super duper chats today. Let me just scroll up here. We got Luffy, Miss Muradova first today. Nice. She's back. She's looking at hype. She's short. She's a shorting queen, but I don't know if this is the time to be shorting aggressively shit coins. And for hype, I mean, this has been one of the stronger shit coins, to be fair. I mean, look, I use shit coin as a term of endearment, so like don't take it too personally. This one obviously significantly better than most of these shits that generally just go sideways and down. Yeah. Based off of the price action for the past few days and also based off of just the general market analysis, I don't think right now is the time to be looking for shorts on these things. It just put in a higher low. So yeah, I can't really be bearish on this thing as long as you're above that higher low at 38.90 region or 38.72 if you want to be super exact from the price action pivot low right there. And this is shaping up to be actually a very constructive formation. So I'd be err on the side of upside. You're short from 43.5 bucks, so you're basically in a very small amount of profit. Personally, if I was in this position, I wouldn't want it. I would close it here while profit's still in your hand. Yes, technically it's not broken above the previous range high, which is 43.77 right now. And I agree with what you did. Like you shorted the range high. My personal opinion is that this one's going the other direction. And if it does break above this number, you're probably going to be looking at a move to 50 plus, $50 to $55, which, that's a big move. I mean, that's double-digit percentage move right there. So I would be a lot more interested in shorting a breakdown below 38.72 than I would be shorting right here at the moment. Again, this is more so like broad market analysis than it is this thing. Anyways, let's see. And Miss Muradova is back again. She is looking for a swing short on humanity. Okay. Look, I think you will get some amazing short opportunities here, but I want to see Bitcoin higher a little bit first. If it gets up to 85, 87, that starts to look a lot more appealing to me. Anyways, this is Humanity Protocol. Hold on, I can't spell humanity. Maybe get that one right, dumbass Krown. Yeah, this one, another one I wouldn't want to short. This is contra to most shitcoin charts, right? Most shitcoin charts just have multi-year history of just going down, right? Sideways and down. This ain't it. Now, can this one initiate the long-term downside that inevitably happens to almost all of these things? Sure, yeah. But for right now, I don't think that this is it. You even got a weekly higher low right here. I think this thing's a lot more likely to pop back up, test its 25-cent high, probably pull back a little bit from there if you want to scalp short. I don't think it's worth trading personally, but the conditions are conducive and ripe for things like this to break out and have nice runs. So if I had to, it'd be 25.30. I don't think that's the right play. I think it ultimately will actually pop above there and probably retest these highs here. If you're looking for shorts, I think it happens later on. I think you got to be looking at Bitcoin right now. And I will feel very, very bad, Miss Muradova, if I am wrong and it does top out right here, but I wouldn't be betting. I just don't think it's a winning, take long term. So yeah. Anyways, Steven Schickman's back. He's looking at SMH. So still looking to short fucking no, this is not the short semiconductors. Thank God. Holy shit, man. That was driving me nuts. That's SOXX. Yeah, man, this is just obviously bullish, obviously going up probably a little bit higher from here. I'm not seeing any topping signals just yet, but it's late in this rally. It's deep in this rally, but it's still probably got higher to go, man. It's still probably got higher to go. When I go to the higher term timeframes, it's getting into crazy land right here. I think you probably see a top on this thing maybe next month earliest, and probably more like summer for the next major top. For now, I'd be cautiously, look, hopefully you're not entering right here. I would not be entering right here. I think if you're thinking in terms of long term, 95% of this rally is probably done before the next big correction. But if you've been riding this thing, I do think it goes higher. I do think it goes higher. So if we were to pull a Fibonacci extension here, next sort of short-term target is 552. You're basically there. Above there, you got 580 and then 615. Which one of those do you hit? I mean, this is kind of the situation where maybe all of those get hit. You do see above $600. I mean, shit, why not? Why not? You're already close enough, But once this thing tops, it's going to be so fucking volatile. It's going to be really, really hard to get out. So I personally would be selling along the way here if I was in these positions. I wouldn't try to get too cute with this, but yes, it very likely does have higher to go. There's nothing bearish about this as long as you're above even yesterday's low at this point, let alone the fucking price action pivot here, which is 483 and 33 cents. So those are my two invalidations. Until then, just let it float, man. It's got more upside, but I don't think right now is the time to be super greedy with these things. Then you come back and you're looking at GLL. So this thing's probably down today, right? Because gold is up, down a little bit. Yeah. I'm still overall bearish in gold. I think that this is a corrective rally on gold, but if I'm wrong, you'll know pretty soon because it pops back up above about 4,900. But for right now, you know, this is a perfect pop back up to meet that green 55 EMA on what's beginning to form into a downtrend. So I would be looking for this to be the next like lower high on gold somewhere around here with an invalidation at 4,900, which is that April high. As long as that's consistent, I don't really have a reason to change my gold analysis. So, looking at GLL, which is basically inverse, but a little bit more difficult, I'd be saying kind of the opposite, but same thing here. I still think it's going up basically. But in the short term, yeah, this would be a good place for another higher low, somewhere around there, perhaps on the daily, I think it's going to show up. Yeah, not as obvious as gold. That's what really throws me off with these charts. You can look at the gold spot chart. It's a lot more of an obvious analysis. This thing, less so. It just doesn't trade in that same fashion. So it makes it difficult. If anything, this thing does, to be fair, have more downside signals. So there is that. Yeah, man. Basically, back above 28.76. That would be confirmation that this thing is, really ready to put in a nice upside move, probably close to the 200 simple here at 27, 28 bucks. Same thing as before. Until then, I guess there's a little bit of try of a downside. It would only really be validated if you take out the April low at $18.50. So fair enough. A little bit more of a difficult chart there for me. Crypto Chart says nice call on ZEC. I appreciate that, man. Just following the charts, man. That's all. You're looking at FET, FET. Cool. Yeah, we can look at this. This is a 2021 shitcoin. Let's see how it's doing. And it looks like a 21 shitcoin. Amazing. Short term, I do think it extends the rally a little bit more, probably at least hits around 24 cents, or sorry, 23 and a half to 24 cents region. Yeah. I think you extend the rally a little bit more. You're just looking at a daily, so that's all that I really got to say about that. If you did ask about the weekly, I would identify that this is potentially a higher low, which could have much higher targets, but of course that's contingent upon this thing, being above last week's low. So that's an easy invalidation for you. Until then, I think you got some decent upside here, somewhere around 24 cents. At least, and then from there, if you do have another spike, which is possible during this condition right now, then I'd be looking at another like 10-15% higher, around 26.5 cent, 27 cent. Long term, I expect the rally to fail. Best case scenario, stars aligning. I'd be looking for this rally to get up somewhere around like 39 cents. But again, that is like full on fucking hopium goggles for right now. In the short term, yeah, I think you got more upside. In the long term, it's more so like, where's the next lower high, in my opinion. Straight Path says GM sir, targets for iron above 63. Are we already at 63? That was fast. Damn, son.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
I would also like to know. Look, it's very likely going to test that $63 high. It's probably going to pull back on the first pass, but this thing is ripe to break out above there. This thing's going to make new highs, man. It's going to make new all-time highs. I really don't like speaking like super fucking bluntly like this, but I don't really have any reason to be bearish on this thing right now. Last week, that was the right call. This week, as soon as Monday opened, that was immediately reversed. It's, this thing wants to retest those highs and it wants to make new all-time highs. If you were to, because this is, what is it called? A falling wedge here, the old falling pizza. There is an implied move to be made off this. It's pointed up north of $80 basically. So I'd be expecting a couple stops along the way. This high right here, 63, short-term pullback, but ultimately busts on through. And then another short-term pullback around the previous all-time high from November of last year. But this thing is ripe to go up higher. The quarterly is going to end up being very, very strong the second that it goes above the last quarter's high at $63. This thing is shaping up to be pretty decent actually. So not bad. Cool. All right, let's see. Plastic Wang Magic. Nice name. Afternoon, sir. Can we get weekly, monthly on USAR? Plastic Wang and Magic Poop Cannon. Yeah, remember we looked at this one a few times over the past couple of weeks. Really good here. I don't really have anything new to add on to it. I still think it's going up to 32.5, 33 bucks. It's kind of similar to the last chart. First pass should pull back. How far does it pull back? Maybe as far as like 26.5, but Ultimately, this thing is ripe to break out. I actually like this chart a lot more than the previous one because you do have an obvious weekly high or low right here, and you don't have that previous kind of like bad price action. Yeah, overall pretty good. I think you're poised to retest that $33 high or sorry, $32 high, pull back short term, bust through more medium and long term, probably in like June. I think you'll retest all-time highs after that, probably make new highs. This is very strong in the quarterly, is shaping up to be. Anyways, AA pieces. Can we look at gold? Sure. My Angus Hertz. I mean, it did have a nice short-term upside move here, but I'm guessing it might be a late longer here. Look, my opinion is really unchanged on gold. This is where I look for, if I was already short, from about 4,900, which was the right call over here. This is where I'd add. And now I'm not trading this thing. I don't have any positions in this thing, but that's probably what I would be doing in this case. I still think that this thing's probably going to top out somewhere around here. I would only change around my opinion on gold and actually turn into quite a big bull. Yeah, I would turn into a really big bull if this happened. It's not impossible. I just think it's less likely right now. But it'd have to reclaim the April high. It'd have to basically close like a weekly above there, basically $4,900. Until then, I'd be treating the trend as your friend, and the trend is to the downside right here. And this is, where I should be expecting those lower highs to come in around. So that's my take on that, man. Who did God did? Says ZEC top now and go to 200. No. I think it's putting in a short-term local high there, but I don't think this is going to be a reversal to $200. I think worst case scenario, you come down to like $480, $500. This is significant right here, man. You have a monthly high or low, and you're retesting the previous high already. So I think this pullback is likely a buy, personally. If you're more long-term, I think that you're going to retest that 750 high. If we fast forward, I don't know, a couple months from now. But yeah, you're very close to, you're pretty much out of pullback region right here. Like I said, pulling back to $480 or even $500 is completely fine. So I don't have any issues with that. If it starts to close below 480, okay, I would put in invalidation there, and I'd completely just admit retardedness on my own behalf. And it's not, look, that is the right call. It's just, is it going to work out or not? It's a more likely thing to happen. But at that point, I would be looking at, probably back down to $200 base, somewhere around there, 250, something like that. But again, as long as Bitcoin hasn't topped, I don't think it's wise to be looking for tops on shitcoins just yet. I really don't. It's usually not the right call. And this is one of those special, or it's not necessarily special. It does happen, but this is one of those conditions in the market where it's just like, don't overthink it, man. Still think Bitcoin has maybe one more stab up a little bit higher here. So, I think a lot of people are going to stack short at the 200 simple moving average here. That's just natural stuff, within the context of a downturn, which it still is, to be fair. It really is. But I think what generally happens in this case is you do get a try above there to liquidate a lot of these guys who are shorting aggressively at that number. We saw it in the short liquidation numbers for the Central Command liquidation data over here. I think you got a ripe play for that here. So, probably goes a little bit higher, probably fulfills the 5-day setup over here for the correction. Then I think you come down at that point. You're probably gonna have some pretty juicy short opportunities for a lot of these shitcoins. But until then, I think you're making the game a little bit harder on yourself than it needs to be. And you really offer up your little boy bunghole to the fucking dildo gods if it does have another, $3,000 move to the upside, which is, to be fair, quite likely here. Alternatively, if I saw Bitcoin come back down below 78.150, then I would say, okay, yeah, short whatever fucking shitcoin you want, basically. You could probably throw darts at the board at that point, but not before then. Great hate from Denmark. Fuck yeah, man. We need more hate in this world. We need more hate. Good evening from London. 1999 was the year I was born. Nice, man. You're a youngin'. You're a youngin'. What's that like, man? You grew up pretty much only with the internet. I lament. I guess it wasn't that crazy when it first began, internet didn't get that crazy until like mid 2010s, 2015. I think that's when it started to kind of take over everyone's life. Anyways, DJ is looking at VST. Sure, yeah, I remember looked at this one on Monday. It was very interesting as an idea. I think they are, no, this is not what I was thinking of. I'm thinking of, why it keeps on not saying VS. It was something like this, but no, it wasn't that. Yeah, it wasn't this. It's not Vistra. Daily and weekly, please. Earnings tomorrow, hold or cut. Look, man, you're in a market right now where several things are just happening their fucking day. This is not one of them, man. Would I hold or cut? Look, this is a base, and it very well could have a big rally from here. Do I like it? Would I hold this thing personally? Look, I always define all of my investment entry, exits, and risk management far in advance before any of these things come out. For me, the weekly price action pivot at 142.34 would be the place to manage on. Can you give up that gain? I don't know. I don't know where you entered. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you were trying to do. I really don't know. I mean, you're asking about a daily and a weekly. Like, it seems like it was more of a trade, in which case I'd probably just get out because I don't think it's the most obvious chart in the world. At the same time, I mean, this area does make a lot of sense for a higher low. So if I was playing the position, I would play the position in the way that I would have, previously set it up. And that would be using, again, that 142.34 low as an invalidation for any sort of potential macro low being put in here. And of course, above 178.31, I'd be happy to hold that thing regardless of what the fucking earnings look like. So yeah, which way do I think it's going to go from here? I don't fucking know, man. I have no insider information on their earnings reports. If I had to call it, probably another test down to like 145, but it has to break below there on a closing basis in order for it to really destroy this long-term trend. And a lot of things suggesting that it probably does put in the low here. So would I hold it? I probably would. But I don't know the specifics of your position. So it makes it very, very difficult. So I can't specifically say to you, hold or cut. And also that is financial advice and I can't do that. Anyways, Great White Hype says NASA on the daily and weekly. Is NASA IPO? No, it is not. This is a Space Innovators ETF. Really good. Really, really good. It's limited chart history here, but again, the market conditions are right for something like this. And overall, it's acting well right here. I think you're getting ready for another retest of around 31, 32 bucks. So what, like 8% move from here? Can it just continue trending to the upside? Yeah, but I just don't have enough price action history here to look at it. Look, here's the fucking weekly, man. It's been around for like literally a month. I can't do much with this, man, for the long term. But short term, yeah, it's good. I'd be looking for it to pop back up towards this high. You got an easy invalidation on last Wednesday's low. That's really all that it comes down to. Other than that, man, way too new. Whoops. And Netflix next. Okay, what is the fucking stupid ass Netflix ticker? NFLX. NFLX for Mr. Base 4267. Looking at a daily. Yeah, don't like this one compared to so many of the other. Yeah, this is bad. Like, we've seen so many stocks just looking obviously good today. This is absolutely not one of them. The LARP lines over here are, I mean, I'd be looking for this thing to retest the lows at $77 to $80 right here. So another 10% downside move. That's what I'd be betting on. I have no reason to be bullish on this thing as long as you're below that 109, the 109 high right here. Above 109, okay, yeah, bullish as fuck. But until then, I'm still looking at this as a correction. And I think that it does go lower. If you're just asking about the daily specifically, it's a downtrend. The trend is your friend, and the only invalidation to the upside is 94.70 cents. So I'd be looking for this thing to come down generally, sideways and down, sideways and down. Midnight Rave says LFG, finishing my morning workout. Fuck yeah, man. Good morning to you, and have a nice workout, sir. Working out in the morning, very, very good, very, very nice. Probably the best time to do it, man. Cool. Great White Hype is back. He's looked at ARC. Okay, ARCX. I did Shark X. Again, completely fucking it up. Really good here, actually, on the daily at least, and the weekly too. Both of them I like. Both of them higher lows. Weekly hidden bullish divergence on that last higher low on the 50. I mean, this is just textbook shit. I think you're getting ready for another retest of the all-time high at 35.5 bucks, and probably new highs from there. This is for all the shit that Kathy Woods gets. This is good. You got a monthly hidden bullish divergence call here on Characteristics RSI, and I mean, it's just stair stepping up right now. So I'd be looking for this thing to probably test highs and make new all-time highs. I'd only invalidate bullishness in the short term if you're back down below last week's low of 31.52, and long-term bullishness gets invalidated below 27.75. Until then, yeah, let the trend be your friend. I'm always going to like a consolidation at the highs, because generally you don't get like two chances to sell the all-time high. And as far as oscillators and indicators go, it's bullish here. It's more likely to be bullish. Arms Private says, how likely do you think Bitcoin has reached the top and dumps back from here? I think I've probably answered this question, by kind of speaking around this. Very, very, very short term, yeah, you're going to get a response on the 200 simple. That's what we're getting right now. If you're on if you're talking about like literally the top of this rally, no, I wouldn't be calling it just yet. Yes, short term, probably a little bit more on this pullback at least. But I would certainly not call it yet. I still think it's a little bit likely to go a little bit more to the upside before coming down. My invalidation again for that statement is a daily close below 78,150 or wherever the mid band is on Rev and Ribbons. Again, I just default to this indicator. It's doing its job and it's doing its job well. So yeah. Pizza says, GM Krown, mind checking out XRP? Yeah. I do mind. We won't do it. No, we'll do it. Actually, dude, it's actually kind of crazy. I saw what was it? I think it was a Jeep yesterday. I think it was yesterday or the day before. I saw a Jeep that had XRP Hodler as their license plate number. It's kind of funny. It's a nice Jeep, so not doing too terribly. As far as XRP goes, I still have the same thing to say as I did before for the past month or so. I think that you're in a short-term upside phase. I do think that you're probably still test somewhere around 155 to 160. Other than that, I don't think it's the strongest. It's certainly not the weakest. It's certainly better than 99% of other shitcoins out there in the world. And I do look at the 1.25 low as likely the low. The question is, do you retest it again? And I think yes, of course, if Bitcoin does play out a pullback that like I'm kind of expecting, maybe in a month or two, or sorry, maybe actually in about a month, if Bitcoin pulls back down to like 70 or 65, then yeah, you probably do retest that number. I just think it's it's probably an opportunity. But yeah, short term, I think you're going up. I think you try a little more upside. If you're going to put in a top somewhere around like 160 makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I don't really have anything changed on that analysis. Like absolute best, like stars aligning scenario for this rally would be the 200 simple on the daily, which is hovering around 178 right now. Again, that is full on hopium, but just in case you get one of those crazy moves, like that would be an area of interest, I suppose. Crestvilla is looking at ELVA. Okay. Electrovea. All right. Cool name and cool chart. I like the chart. I like the long term. You have a nearly 10-year long consolidation here being resolved as of right now. You already broke that previous local high in 2021. You put in a higher low just a couple months ago. I'm bullish, man. I'm bullish. Don't need to overthink shit like this. It is bullish as long on the long term, as long as you're above $7 low. And I'd be looking for this thing to, pop back up towards its previous highs. Your next sort of breakout confirmation is when you do see this thing pop back above about $10.50, or sorry, let me make that about 1090. Well, just say $11. But yeah, you got your macro higher low right here, higher high already above this high. That's fine. Don't overthink things. 10-year long consolidation being resolved. It reminds me of that ENTG chart, which I like as well for the long term. Short term, you're going to see ebbs and flows, obviously, but I don't really have a reason to be bearish on this. Again, $7, big invalidation right there. So cool. What's up, Mr. Tom London? Hit the likes. Fuck yeah, man. Appreciate it. Just one moment. Gwinto says, pump it in my ass, Krown. No problem, man. And I will also pin this message. Got to pin the best message of the day. Anyways, wait, no. Arms Private says, do you think we get more pullback to the median on rib bands? On the Rev and Ribbons first before continuing to 85. Possible, yeah. This current move can take many different forms. I don't know. Try not to get too much in the weeds with this on the short term here. I guess possible, yeah. It's just for me, nothing really changes until Bitcoin's below 78,150. That's the line in the sand right now on a daily closing basis. Does the short term pull back or not? Hard question. I really don't know. I do think that you will see a little bit of a deeper pullback than what we've already gotten, maybe back down to like 80,400, 80,500. But these still higher lows here. So yeah, I really don't want to overthink the short term for right now. Yeah. That's what I'd say about that. URA on the daily for a great white hype. Okay. And weekly. Okay. This is uranium ETF. I remember this one. And daily good. Daily, very nice consolidation here. You have a nice little ascending triangle. Nice little higher lows. And the LARP lines, holy shit, man. Those LARP lines nearly fucking perfect. That's funny. not supposed to be like that good. Something like this, man. Overall bullish, overall likely to retest the highs of this formation at $60.50. And I think it's very likely ready to break out as well, man. If it does break out, looking for this $66 number here to get hit. Come back to it after that. Yeah, hidden bullish evidence on character RSI for that next higher low. Beautiful. Monthly, stair stepping its way up. Consolidation around that next major level. Beautiful. Yeah, man. I just generally be looking somewhere around there, man. $66 or so. Come back to after it. Come back after that. Did I just get a call here? Let me just see. Can I get my gender change surgery finally scheduled? Trying to become Erica. Yeah, I have nothing bearish about this to say, even on a daily, as long as you're above fucking $52.50. So yeah, man. Again, don't overthink things here. Just let it do its thing. Let it float up. Let it go to its home. Just don't you want to go to its home? It's inviting you in. It's opened the door. It wants you to come in. Says, hello, here's some green dildos. Just don't overthink me, sir. There you go. Anyways, Andrew plus the sub Krown, need help. All right. Looking at Integris, which you've looked at a few times now. Yeah. Cool. All right, let's go over here. And something like USAR, rare minerals sector. Is there one chart between these two that you like better? Really interesting question here. Integris, this thing is, I mean, it's ready to break out right now, and you do have a 5-year-long consolidation being resolved. So, okay, I put it this way. Which one's going to have the bigger gains? That's a big question mark. Probably the USAR will, because it just doesn't have that much history. So, you know, being that it is a lower market cap, it's going to be able to do crazier things. But if I want the more high probability thing, I would go with Integris, because you're looking at a 5-year-long consolidation, whereas USAR hasn't even been around for I don't think like a year or two. You know, it's very minimal. So you know, depending upon your preferences, I think both are fine. I really like the higher term time frame setup here. So if you are more long term, you know, looking at a quarterly, I think ENTG is just. It's just a more obviously better chart, but I think both are fine, honestly. You know, 6-month chart, also hidden bullish evidence on character RSI. Like, just, I don't want to overthink shit like this. This thing, I'm looking to go for like 200 plus. For something like USAR, it's a lot more difficult to get upside targets because there's just not that much history, but also when you don't have that much history, you can do some of those crazier moves. So if I was, you know, if I'm a money manager, I wouldn't choose one or the other. I would choose both, and I'd go deeper into this thing because it's higher probability, and then a smaller amount, so maybe like 70% this thing's 30% USAR, and ride both. I think that's a fair thing to do as well, man. You don't need to blow all of your load in one go. You can space it out a little bit, and that is what is, you know, being a good money manager. So yeah. But both of them I like, and it's kind of like opposite too, because usually with ETFs I like to go on the bigger side, even though this thing is a singular stock, but it just has a lot more history. So, you know, it's a lot more steady here, in my opinion. I mean, shit, even if we go to like the yearly chart, like this is significant right now, man. So yeah. Anyways, let's see. Chris, by the way, I really like questions like that. Chris Vela says AWK monthly. Okay. AUK, American Water Works Company. Okay. Not good. Oh shit. Are we about to lose our water? Yeah, not fucking good, man. Everything in their mother is running to the upside today. It's not this thing. I would avoid. Not an obviously good chart, and in the short term, a lot more likely to come back down to this 120 to 115 low. That's what I'd be looking at here, and shit. You know, to be fair, like, depending upon how this quarter closes, I would extend those downside targets to 100. If the quarterly close is anywhere below like 130, yeah, I'd be bearish for a move down to $100 or so. Yeah, I don't like this. You know, you got a lower high right here. The second that you break this previous low, I mean, it's probably gonna get pretty ugly. But yeah, definitely not chart of the day award. I'll put it that way. We've seen so many good things today. This is just absolutely not fucking one of them, man. So I would avoid shit like this because you know, even if it does turn around and be good, you know, look, you can fucking hate me for it, but I will always stand by that statement. You know, it's better to go with the obviously good chart rather than, you know, punt on something like this, which is just giving a lot more downside signals. I mean, I'm always going to go against that, man. I'm always going to go against that. Dead Reckoning says, can you look at CGNX? CGNX. Cognix Corporation. Good. Another example. Like, obviously a lot better. Fucking crazy, man. Weekly and daily. Weekly is breaking out of that previous high and also reversing the short-term trend and resolving that weekly consolidation. So that's good. Daily just continuation here. How high we going? I'd have to go to the monthly for this. This is, I think you're going in for like 67, 68 bucks. On this move, and possible it goes for more. It's just that's like the obvious sort of short-term relevant to maybe the daily and the weekly. I'd only get bearish on this thing if you came back down below yesterday's low, 56 bucks, and closed below there. And even then, bearish isn't the right term. I'd just be looking for consolidation sideways and lower. Now, do I think that's going to happen? No, but you always need an invalidation of some sort. So yeah, man, cool. Greetings from Barcelona. Holy shit, man, you're in Barcelona. I thought you were American. Oh no, it's Mr. Cowboy NZ. Wait, I thought you were New Zealand. Anyways, please give us a lesson on how to be a gay long-term investor. Pretty much you just, you do a little bit of work like once every month, and then you sit on your hands and be patient. It's really not that, I mean, if you're making a lot of trades often as a long-term investor, I think you're fucking up. I mean, realistically, you only get like, as a long-term investor, when I'm doing my long-term investing, I make decisions like 4 times a year, basically on a quarterly basis, maybe 6 times a year if things are like a little bit crazier. But yeah, man, it doesn't happen that often. Anyways, DJ Z's says GEV daily, weekly, please. Krown has it topped. Krownus, I'm Krownus now. No, this thing's probably going to make new highs, man. I would only say it's topped if you actually came back down below about $1,000 until this thing probably wants to make new highs. This is really strong. If it comes down below $1,000 and closes below $1,000 on a weekly, I would invalidate bullishness. But until then, I think this thing wants higher, man. I think it wants higher, man. If you're on a daily time frame, look, there's going to be a lot of ebbs and flows here. It's going to get extremely volatile. So you are latching on to the very end of this parabolic blow off top, but it's probably got at least another like week or two. Yeah. Below $1,000, again, I invalidate that statement. I'm shit. Even below like, 1047, the price action pivot right here, that's a big red flag. But $1,000 really puts a fucking nail in the coffin on this thing. Until then, I'd be betting on upside, but I think you're in like the last couple of weeks of this rally, man. This is very impressive, very intense, but I wouldn't be entering here. I'll put it that way, man. You're probably finding a top like within a month. I would guess right now. Cool. All right. Crypto Geesh. Yeah. Won the literal lottery recently. That's fucking awesome, man. Here's the other thing from what I hear. When you win the lottery, don't tell anyone, man. And I'll give you also just some like personal look. I'm not trying to be your dad, but I will give you just personal wisdom that I've learned from very, very, very bad financial experiences. Don't tell any of your friends that you've made money. Don't tell your family you've made money. Do not fucking lend people money. If you are going to lend a person money, assume it is lost. I'm telling you, man, anytime I've lent someone money, anytime, even if like they're really fucking good friends, even if it's a really high amount and they promise that they're going to pay it back, literally every fucking time I've done it, I've gotten burned. Every fucking time. There's never been a time where I have not gotten burned. And I've gotten burned like, look, I don't want to put like a number on it, but it's more than, it's into decent 7 digits. I'll put it this way. It's not fucking fun, man. So when, the natural thing is when your friends and family see that, when they know that you're actually doing well, they're going to come to you looking for handouts. They're going to come to you looking for these sort of things. You can give it to them, of course, but if you give it to them, you absolutely must expect nothing in return. They will not give it back. It is extremely unlikely. I have had numerous experiences with this, with even really good friends too. Never pay it back. They don't fucking care. Or even if they don't fucking care, even if they want to, like they can't, it's just, it sucks, man. Don't do it. Don't make the same mistake as me because you can blow a lot of the money that way. Anyways, cool. Great White Hype says SHLD. Yeah, full disclosure, I do hold a lot of this one actually still, but I have traded around my position a little bit. Where is it on my list here? I know it's here somewhere. Yeah, 67.71. Shield, you know, do I think it's putting in a low here? It has filled the gap back from December of last year. So this area kind of makes sense. I would just be a little bit defensive towards this move, crashing out a slightly lower towards $64.50. But this is where I'm looking for on a higher low, assuming that this thing is going to be good long term. Now, when I look at the monthly, I might be completely fucking wrong on this thing. I'm going to be completely wrong on this thing. And if I am, you'll know because you start to see weekly closures below about $63.50. Below there, I have to capitulate on the rest of my position. It will still be profitable for me because this was a long-term thing. But you know, as far as your question, is this a good buy with an easy invalidation? Your invalidation is, I mean, would make most sense at around $62.50 on a weekly closing basis. So from here to there, you got like what, 8% risk on price action. If that's okay with you, then that's okay with you. You know, that is a personal call. But that would be the setup if I was looking to take a position here. Yeah. It's probably a little bit easier to buy a validation of this thing actually putting in a higher low rather than trying to anticipate where the higher low is. You know, I think it's just a little bit easier in this particular case to do that. All you need to see is like a daily closure back above about $70. But yeah, until then, you know, coming under a bit of pressure here. I'm not liking the monthly. The quarterly can still go either way. Yearly's, I mean, ugly for right now, but we're not even halfway through this year, so not worth talking about at the moment. Yeah, that's what I say about that, man. Yeah, cool. All right. Your ancestors hate you for saying that. What about it? Well, fair enough, man. You know what's better than Bitcoin? Beef and rice. Actually, I fucking love beef and rice, sir. You're talking to Asian Massage. Your ancestors hate you. Yeah, man, rice honestly is really good, but only white rice. And I'm not saying that because I'm racist, okay? It's brown rice. It just makes me fucking fart like crazy, man. It's got too much fiber in it and shit like that. Go with the white rice. It's good. If you have a hard workout, fucking eat all the white rice that you can. The brown rice, it makes me shit like crazy at night, man. I fucking blowing gaskets at night. You ask Elsa, man. I wake up our poor little Rosie dog. She starts coughing. I start farting, and it becomes like a symphony of shit. It's really bad. By the way, our beautiful little Rosie dog, she threw up last night on our bed while we're sleeping at 2 a.m. Really great night. Really fucking good night. All right, cool. See what else we got. Oh wow, a lot of super. Holy shit, man! Is this a bull market? There's a lot of super chats. It's a little bit too busy, man. Derek Dombrowski is looking at short to medium term for ENTG. You're asking for an entry. Look, I can't give you financial advice, man. What I can say is that this thing is ready to go right now. If you bought it right here, I wouldn't hate that as a decision. Just because I don't like if it retraces from here, I think that's a signal in and of itself. This thing is ready to go right now. And if it is going to be good, it should go right now. The invalidation is obviously at 135. That's a lot of risk for a position right here. Do I think it's going to pull back after hitting like 160 high? Yeah, it'll pull back short term. You know, maybe it gets back down to like 150 or 145 possible. But this is one of those situations where I think you had to position earlier. And if you want to do it now, you got to get aggressive because if this thing is going to break out, it's going to do it likely from here. I don't think it's coming back down much more than like, you know, 145 even if this, and that's even a big fucking question mark. I mean, look, man, if it comes back down below 135, I would invalidate any short-term bullishness and look for this thing to reset back down to like 115, whatever. It'd still be bullish long-term, but you know, shaping this one up right here, I think if you're going to get in, you're going to get in, and you got to accept that risk for this one in this particular case. Because if you do bid lower, anticipating a bigger pullback, I just think that kind of invalidates the current bullish setup in and of itself. So yeah, I mean, all higher term timeframes bullish here. Every higher term timeframe bullish. Short term timeframes, I mean, bullish as well. It just put in a higher low on Monday. So yeah, I can't hate that, man. I think that this one's a lot more likely to rip than it is to dip. And if you do get a pullback, it's just on this high here at like 159. It's probably gonna be, I don't think it's gonna be like a crazy pullback. Base 42 says CEG stock. Okay. Why does this one sound familiar? Doesn't look familiar, but it sounds familiar. Decent here. Short term, probably retest the high, that previous range high, 335 region. Or was that 335? Yeah, 335. 333, 333 to 335. Does it actually reclaim that high or not? If it does, then I'd extend those targets to like 380. 400 probably. At that point, it starts to look pretty good for like a bigger breakout. But for right now, look, there's some good reasons to like this chart. You got a drive of hidden bullish evidence on characters RSI, which is populating here. There still is a potential possibility of a pullback down to like 290, but I think it's an opportunity. This thing is very likely putting in a higher low here. Question is like, what sort of shape does it take form? Does it just bust through right here and go up? Or does it, hit 333, pull back, maybe like 290, and then try the upside move? I don't know. But basically, I'm bullish on this thing as long as you're above about, what was it, like 280? 265. Yeah. We got Waves for Life. He's looking at Fart Daily Weekly. Oh, dear Lord. I mean, shit, man, even stuff like this should probably be rallying. Oh, they got rid of on TradingView. Uh-oh. You really done fucked up when you get removed from TradingView. Let's see. It's at the first area where I'd probably be looking for on a high, but given the rest of the market, I just don't think that's the play right now. If it spikes a little bit higher, 27.5 to 28 cents is the area I'd be looking at. And like just fucking stars aligning, best absolute crazy scenario, Bitcoin up close to 90,000 bucks. I'd be looking for this thing around 37, 38 cents. Now, do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. But I think it's a little bit too premature to be looking for shorts on a lot of these things right now. If this thing came back down below yesterday's low, okay, sure, yeah, fuck yeah, there you got an opportunity. But until then, I'm going to be a lot more averse to that today. I just don't think it's the right time. I think it's the right idea, but I don't think it's the right time for something like that. And, something like this can move very volatilely. So, if you had to survive a move up to like even 30 cents, that can destroy an account, man. So I would not. Anyways. All right. Ricardo Van der Noort says, hey, Krown, can you take a look at Tau on the hourly? Oh, dear Lord. Oh, if the general market's doing well, maybe this thing actually does have a chance here. Let's see. Yeah, so it did pop back up towards that previous high. We did say that was likely on Monday. I do think it probably retests a little bit closer to that previous high at 350. This is starting to look like it potentially could be a reversal. I'm not going to call it right now. I will err on the side of cautiousness here just because I will remain bearish until it actually trades and close above that previous high. But for right now, it has a bit of a chance. Anyways, the question is primarily on the hourly. You got some bearish divergence building right here. Short term probably does pull back and hit around 300 if I had to call the short term. Long term, I'd still be looking for lower highs on this thing. I will not flip around my bias until it actually proves itself, and it needs to do that above that previous high from March. So yeah, short term and even short term, I think you got a bit of a pullback there. That's just the question on the hourly. Anyways, Jay Pinman is looking at Silv J. I think the Silv Junior miners. Yeah. Don't like. Yeah, it just looks like the silver chart to me. I think you're a lot more likely to go back to like $22.50 than you are to go to like $40. But new all-time high. What's new all-time high about this, man? It's in a downtrend. High, low, lower high, lower low, lower high. This isn't a lower low, but it's just popping back up to that green 50. Look, man, I just don't fucking get it. Look, if you like silver, you're drinking the fucking Kool-Aid. That's great. But from a technical standpoint, no reason to get bullish on this thing until you're back above $34. Above $34, okay, sure, yeah, send it back up to new all-time highs. But that's pretty fucking far away from where you're at right now. It's another, 11, 12% move. And it's kind of at the right place right now where I'd love to put in a lower high if it could. So no, I would still be going with the trend. I'm always going to go with the trend in these cases. I think most of the metals, most of the commodities have still topped. So that's just my take. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, man. If I'm wrong, you'll see those April highs being reclaimed. At that point, I'm wrong. At that point, it's probably going to retest all-time highs and make new all-time highs. But until then, I certainly won't be calling it. I need to see that first. We've been on the right side on these things for a while now. I don't want to negate that just because of vibes at this point. Base 42 says MRAM. Okay, it's a new one. All right. No idea what fucking hell, man. Yeah, there we go. Like compare that with a lot of the more questionable charts we've seen today. So here you have another example of it, hitting around a previous all-time high. It might spike to like officially meet the all-time high at, $25, but in this area right here, I'm looking for a short and medium term pullback. I don't think it's going to like bust on through and, oh shit, it already did kind of have a pullback. Well, it kind of already had a pullback, actually. That was a 20% pullback. I have gained further clarity on this. I think it's actually going to go a little bit more up from here. Probably close to that previous all-time high. Then you probably got another short-term pullback. Long-term, does it lead to higher? Yeah. I mean, you got hidden bullish evidence on monthly RSI here. Obviously, that's already played out, the easy portion of that. But, you know, I think that this thing's likely setting up for a breakout to like new all-time highs. But I'd be expecting a bigger consolidation after it hits that previous all-time high. Short-term, it actually wants to go up from here, which is kind of aggressive. I'd only be short-term bearish if it came back down below yesterday's low. And until then, I mean, send it up to 25 bucks or so or whatever, and pull back from there, spend some time consolidating, and then I don't see why this thing wouldn't print new all-time highs. Again, this is a nearly 10-year long consolidation from 2017. So yeah, if semis top out, what's the next rotation? I don't know. We'll have to see. I haven't really been paying attention to sectors right now, but whatever's been the second most strong sector, sometimes they just come out of the blue. But the idea is just kind of figure out, once they top, what do you see going up while it goes down? Then pick the one that's going up the most, ride that thing, basically. Very nice. Okay, cool. Okay. Let's go to Old Gringod. Old Gringold says, GM sir, what's up, man? Dollar yen. Yeah. Long time since we looked at this. Long-term bullish, yes, but short-term likely finding a local high here and likely having a swing down. I'd be looking at like 152 or so for the next higher low. Then I look at it quarterly, maybe not. Overall, it's bullish long-term. Probably not worth overthinking this. It actually might just be bullish from here, man. I would invalidate that statement if you did come back down below 152, and I'd be looking for a deeper retracement, to 145, 142 region. But until then, I don't know how this current consolidation shapes up. Maybe one more try at like 152 or something. But yeah, overall, this thing wants to go higher. It's just the question is kind of like, how long does that take? And does it have one more correction first? I'm inclined to say it probably doesn't have one more correction first, lower than what you've seen already at like 150 or so. And if it goes below 150, then yeah, got to reconsider that statement. But until then, probably just be looking sideways and up from here. If you're on a daily and weekly, next higher low somewhere around 153.5 to 152 would be really, really nice. Not saying that that's necessarily going to happen. If you did get down to no, I won't say that. Yeah. The question to me is not so much, is it going to break out and continue? The answer is extremely likely yes. The question is over what time frame, and do we get a pullback first? If it pulls back, 152 would be kind of like the ideal area in my opinion. Other than that, I don't really have much else to say. If you're just on a daily, weird one here. I don't know what to make of this on the daily. So I'll just say a healthy amount of I don't fucking know. Erica Foynmeyer says, multiple times now I've missed these live streams because I'm too busy getting cursed out by customers. Does anyone feel like a character from Dumb Money? Happens. But at least you got your own business, which is good. That is always nice. JW Floor says, I know there was someone who won the lottery earlier. I'm not that fortunate, but I'm about to sell a rental property, which will give me about 100,000 bucks take home. Fuck yeah, man. Where'd you put that? It's same answer. I'd take, look, if you already have like your monthly expenses covered up to like, at least, they usually say like 6 months. I think it's a lot more confidence inducing to have like, 3 to 5 years, but it just depends on your overall level, obviously. So if you can do 5 to 6 months, that's fucking good. If you can get all the way up to like 3 to 5 years, I think that gives you a lot of leeway. Then I'd be pretty much all of that in just major indices, not really overthinking it. Yes. You might want to hold on to like some odd percent to kind of DCA, over time, but, I just wouldn't overthink it, man. If you don't need the money right now, if you don't need the cash right now, and you can survive, maybe a 20% correction, I just wouldn't overthink it, man. I just let it sit there and forget about it for a while. But yeah, great. What hype says data center? I mean, data center centers, AI. Is that going to be the next rotation? Could be. very well could be. I mean, they're all related to semiconductors as well, right? So could be. Cool. J Meg says, can you look at DGXX? Yeah. DGXX, DigiPowerX. Just another example of a chart going fucking vertical, right? Now it's going vertical in the short term, long term, don't like it, but I do think it's going to retest its high at 680. And this does have potential to be a real reversal here. You got a few higher lows on the monthly. So I'd give it the benefit of the doubt here. At least I think it's going back up to like that $7 high or so. From there, I don't know. It's kind of hard to be optimistic on a chart that looks like this long term, but I do think that you got upside from here. Is there anything that's obvious? Not seeing anything that's like super, super obvious. I guess next target on a breakout from there would be what? What the fuck? Where? It just eluded me. Oh, that can't be right. Look, I don't know what the fuck's going on with this thing long term. I'd be very skeptical of it long term. I think you got a little bit more upside right here. Probably pulls back after hitting around 680 to $7. I'd want to come back to it after that, man. I really don't like shit like this long term, man. But you already know that, right? I guess if it did reclaim that high at $7 or so, you know, after a bit of a pullback, I guess next target would be like fucking 15, 16 bucks. But look, like I would want to come back to it after this. I would not blindly call that. Something weird's going on here. I'm always skeptical of shit like this. Cool. Tim Man, welcome back to the cave, sir. Good to fucking see you, sir. It's Asti is here. She's looking at Mara. Okay. Yeah, let's look at Mara. Yeah, the stock, right? Right. It's going to try a rally here. I think that it goes up to like $15.50 or so, but got to be defensive for another lower high there. Look, this thing is just not done well over time. I mean, that much is very clear, and I say don't fight shit like this, you know? It's kind of told you who it is during multiple bull markets. All it does is put in lower highs, so I ain't looking for reversals, but I do think that you have some upside here. You know, at least 13.5 and perhaps around like 15.5 bucks, but these are the places I'd be looking for on lower highs. Yeah, there's just no reason to be calling a reversal before, you know, you have real proof on something like this. And at the very least, you need to see this thing back above like 23.5 bucks, you know, before there's even the conversation of a potential reversal. So for me, I think you got upside here. I just think it's probably an opportunity to get out, assuming that you're already long. But yeah, short term, you know, does have some upside. So there is that at least. Hopefully that was helpful. One moment. Oh, very nice. Oh, and before I forget as well, because I haven't been talking about it too much recently, but there's been a crazy response to the TA 101 program here. It's all free, by the way. You can find it in the link description below. I actually just have the options program listed right there. But if you just go to the Teachable School, the TA 101 will be there as well. There's like 1,500 people in that already. Just insane. Like, I mean, yes, it's free, but at the same time, it's like they're, you know, that is, you know, it is intended to actually like fucking help you, you know? So it's good to see that there are people like committed and going through it. And I can actually see like the percentage of people, you know, completing things. It's nice. It's nice. Makes me very motivated to do more stuff like that. But yeah, there for you, all free, all good to go. And yeah, anyways, Bulk Pony says GM sir, I did not win the lottery, but I'd like some SOXX upside targets. Okay. Well, look at this thing. We kind of looked at it earlier. Like I said, if you're joining the rally here, I think you got to be like, okay, you're probably not joining the rally here because you're asking about upside targets. So I'm guessing you're already long. But I do feel like it's important for me to say, look, for anyone just joining right now, many of these things I would not be entering. I would only be managing. Short term, you probably actually do pull back a little bit from $500 just because round even number, three spot Fibonacci extension right here. Do I think it's going to top out there? Probably not. I do think you're in the fucking twilight zone here. I think this is where things get crazy, but you have to be really disciplined to take profits when it goes up. So I'd be taking profits around 560 to 575. And if it gets to 600 or 620, I'd definitely be taking a lot of profits there. I think you're, you know, 90% deep into this rally, if not more. Yeah, it probably has a little bit higher to go. Yeah, the quarterly probably goes for another quarter, so that brings us into the summer. But I'd be selling along the way. I'd be selling along the way, and not overthinking this. It sounds like, you know, if you were in this for really even a short amount of time at this point, you're probably in big profits. So I wouldn't get too greedy with this. This rally right here on the weekly is literally fucking vertical. So in the short term, you probably do come with a volatile pullback relatively soon. I think somewhere around low 500s is where you're looking at, where that pullback likely finds a high. And then, later on, does it go a little bit higher? Probably yes. But again, taking profits never killed no one. So yeah, man, you don't need to take all of it off the table as well, And again, I do think it's going to go higher. Like, it's very likely to go higher. It's just take a little bit off the table, makes you feel better. Cool. Tom RW says on NYSE, Hinge, HNGE, Hinge Health. Okay. See, is it good? Is it good? Yeah, not bad. Yeah, it's a weird one because there's not that much history here, but it's not bad. If anything, it's good. You're saying weekly, monthly, looking to get more. Your average is $39. Okay, so you're in profit by pretty large margin. You basically longed this higher low here. I think that is the ideal position, obviously. You're brushing up against the range high right now, which is right here. You pulled back from that range high. That's expected. You're probably going to consolidate a little bit lower. So if you came back down to like 47-ish, that's where I'd be looking at. And then I'd also have an invalidation for this, which would be $43 right here, 43 and a quarter on a, at least a daily closing basis. As long as you're above there, I'm happy to be bullish. I do expect a pullback, but just don't want to see it violate that number. Longer term probably goes more up. Yeah. But short term, yeah, I think it's a good place for a pullback. If you go to like a 4-hour time frame, maybe a little more obvious here. Yeah, something like that, man. You're also looking at CVLT, weekly, monthly is the low end. Like this low right here. Oh, that's absolutely a major low. Is it the next macro low? Definitely potential to be. I mean, you had a really nasty pullback right here, and you're coming down to the monthly 200. Like, that just doesn't happen too often. I think it's completely fine to position around that. But here's the thing: when you have a disastrous move like this to the downside, and I actually do think it will put in a macro low here, or at most, maybe down to like $62, $63, whatever. But basically, it's seen the lows. I don't think you're going to V bottom out of this. It's not going to be like this. It's very, very unlikely to be like that. It's probably more likely to be like this. Extends the move a little bit more, comes back down, does some sideways action, does something like that. And that can actually take you multiple years. But yes, do I think this is a macro low? More or less, yes. Would I enter in here? Probably not, because opportunity cost. But hey, if you just have money that you want to appropriate towards that, then I don't think it's the worst to do. I just think you're going to be waiting a long time. But yeah, as far as the question of like, is it the next macro low? Probably yes. I would be betting on that. I think you see enough here to bet on that. Quarterly time frame even has hidden bullish divergence building right here between the lows of 2022 and the current lows right here, and it's on the 55. Like, this is so textbook. It's so fucking textbook. I just think it might take a long time, which may or may not, make it a good idea for you. Greybot Hype is looking at symbol BOTT, bot. I like bots. I like humanoid robotics. I like all this sort of shit. It's good. I like the narrative. I like the idea. I want one as well. Invest in the technology that you want to happen. Good idea. Hidden bullish divergence on this last higher low. Short term, probably extend the move maybe towards like 56 and a quarter. Overall, this thing wants to go higher. Overall wants to go back above $60. But I have a clean and obvious invalidation right here at that $44 low, basically. As long as you're above there, I'm bullish. I don't know which form it's going to take in this consolidation. Like, does it go straight up from here? Does it, go up a little bit, then come down, put in a higher low again, and then, snake its way out? I don't know. There is no way to know that. But I'm happy to be bullish on this thing as long as you're above that $44 low. Generally looking back up towards $60. That's the next, boss, if you will. That's the next Gandalf line of you shall not pass. But you very likely will pass it. Just on the first pass, you probably pull back. So yeah, man. Do you set stop limits on your long-term holds? No. So I will look at things on like a monthly basis typically. Lowest time frame I'll look at is a weekly. And even then, I do not like making decisions on a weekly time frame. I mean, shit, man, when I'm taking a long-term position, I'm really looking, minimum fucking 5 years. So how many weeklies do you have in 5 years? Well, 5 times 52, which is like, I don't know, 260. It's just not that helpful. Monthly time frame makes a lot more sense there. Cool. All right, let me scroll down a little bit more here. I think I've worked my way through all the super chats. Nice. I see Mr. Van Doyce in here. Fuck yeah. And DJ has just slipped in to the DMs with another super chat. GFS, looking for long-term position. Okay, GFS. Excuse me. Another one that just does not have that much history. So I don't like, for me, that I just don't look at this sort of stuff. I don't have strong opinions on this stuff because there's just not a strong opinion to be made on something that's so new. It's been around for like 3-4 years, but if you're talking about a long-term position, I don't know. I just don't have enough history here of this thing doing well to have confidence in it. So I'm guessing you like it as like either a narrative play, you like it fundamentally, whatever. Technically wise, I think you're going to get a pullback at some point to 57.5. Is it bearish? Is it bullish? I don't fucking know. I really don't know. I can understand why you'd be bullish on this thing, but I would be looking for a pullback somewhere between 57.5 on the lower end to maybe as little as like $63, $64 on the higher end. If it does close a monthly above that $72.5 pivot here, I would be very, very bullish on it, I guess. That would be an objective signal. Other than that, I don't want to have a strong opinion on this. If anything, I think short term is going to be a pullback. So yeah, man. Any Middle Earth enthusiasts in chat? Well, you already know I am, man. I've been playing crazy campaigns on the Tales from the Age of Men mod on Bannerlord. It's just so fucking good, man. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. But I hear that Warhorse, or no, you told me this. Warhorse Studios making a open world Lord of the Rings RPG. I mean, fuck, man. Couldn't get better than that. How did you miss my super chat? Maybe, because I've gotten through all of them. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I did. Sorry about that, man. Okay, thank you for calling me out there. I actually missed a few over here. My apologies. Holy shit, I missed a lot. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. My bad. Thank you for calling it out. As always, if you do feel like I've reasonably missed yours, let me know, because I do make mistakes. Anyways, I need to actually start it off at the top here with the first one that I missed, which is Do It Wit, who says, thanks for all your videos and live streams. All good, man. Do you know the historical success probability of Bitcoin hitting the green MA 85 on the yellow and red 50? What did the historic? Yeah, actually, we do. We do. So the probability of it being hit actually is 100%. The problem is that going to be profitable, which is the real question. So for that, I guess we can go over here. I forget if this is my daily or 2-day. I know it says 2-day on the thing, but let's go over here. Go over here. Look, the probability of being hit is 100%, but as you can see in an example like this right here, it happens in one bar and it's just not helpful. Over here, you get a little bit of a chance. Again, these are not really great for like trades. They're great for YouTube directional analysis and areas of interest for rallies. Over here, over here, over here, over here. Yeah. Pretty much, I mean, every time it does and relatively quickly. That's what I say about that, man. Yeah, like what's the probability? It will be hit. The question is over what period of time, and what's the longest that it's taken to hit is like 1 bar, 1 bar, 1 bar, 1 bar, 1 bar, 2 bars. This one's the longest actually right here. How many bars was it? 8 bars, 40 days. Definitely an outlier, but possible, I guess. More often than not, 1 bar, especially in the past 10 years, every time it's pretty much been 1 bar except for once. So yeah, what's probably been being hit? Actually, literally 100% historically speaking, but if this takes a long time, for example, so I think the better or what you're probably getting at is if Bitcoin pulls back here and does not continue to new highs literally from here on this rally, then you have a situation in which Bitcoin probably has a deeper pullback, in which case that green 55 EMA gets pulled down lower and lower and lower over time. With each and every passing bar, it's going to go lower. And at some point, it's going to come, well, it perhaps comes so low that you do fulfill that test, but it's, maybe it's closer to like $78,000 rather than where it's at right now at 85. That would obviously take a lot of time to be fair, but yeah, possible, I suppose. I think that's kind of what you're asking, really. Cool. Creighton C says, are you serious? I had the exact same experience with my dog. He had a bad reaction to glucose. Really? You give your dog glucosamine? Yeah. I don't know. Like my fucking dog is just obsessed with eating shit that she shouldn't eat. She's still like a pup, She's only 7 months old, but she will eat her. She actually doesn't eat her shits that much anymore, but she will eat like flowers from outside and just like shit that my mom leaves on the ground. Like stuff that she probably shouldn't be eating. And yeah, upsets my stomach. She's just a little one. She's only 10 pounds, man. Probably 10 pounds soaking wet. We have Northern Kingdom 99 next. He's looking at VCX. Okay. Yeah, this is the one that we looked at on Monday. It's interesting here for sure. It's very interesting here, in my opinion, for sure. Not because I like the chart, because there's really not even a chart to like or dislike, honestly, but because of what it is, which is it's basically investing in a lot of like private markets, which is, you know, a lot of the gains are there right now. Short term, are you hitting high right here? Probably yes. I would be expecting a pullback. At least I'll put it this way. I hope that there's a pullback because I would like to grab a small amount. Again, very small position for me if I do get one. You know, I'd want to position more close to like 125 region at the very minimum. And like ideally, you know, this is probably not going to happen, but $100, or if it did happen, it's probably not going to be good. But yeah, as long as this thing's above 125, I think you can make the argument that it is, you know, it might have one of those beautiful moves from here. But again, 125 is the line in the sand on a weekly closing basis. As long as you're above there, okay, fine, good. Like let it do its thing. Second that you start to go below there and close below there, I think just let it fucking go through. As far as the daily goes, hopefully it pulls back from here because that would be what I think is probably gonna be the opportunity. What? To close what? No, it's fine. It's fine. Anyways, what else we got here? Lordita. Netflix is at $97. What would you do if you were me? Oh, you got in at 97. Okay. NF. Let's go there. We have some cover on this situation. Okay. $97. Okay. You are in trouble. Sorry, man. Is it possible it goes up a little bit to get out higher? Look, you can play that game and maybe you got to move to like 90, 92, $93. I personally don't think it's worth doing that. That's just my personal take. I think it's going lower. I think you're in a bad position right now. If you really wanted to hold on to hopium, and I would not do this myself, but I could understand the logic behind it, is you would wait for the weekly closure, and if the weekly closes below $90.50, so about $90.70. If it closes above there on Friday, okay, maybe you can hold it for like another try at 95 or maybe even 97 is possible, I guess. But look, if I'm shooting you straight, I would not do that myself. I would take the loss here and I would not give a fuck if it goes back up later on. It just, this is not, in my opinion, the trade. But yeah, you know, I could understand that if you really wanted to hold on to some hopium. It's an understandable position to take. I wouldn't take it myself for those reasons. So yeah. All right. What else we got here, man? What else we got here? Oh, there we are. Mr. Mezzo. So, okay. We got you, man. Apologies about that again. Good morning from Sydney. Fuck yeah. It's morning there. Holy shit. You guys are like really a day ahead of us. Have CoreWeave reversed trend, to the upside or to the downside? Because I think last time we looked at this, it was bullish. So let's see. This is bullish, man. Has a reverse trend, yeah. So this one, I remember this one was like contra to the other one. We identified this one on weekly as having a higher low, and if it could close back above this $114.50 high, that's good. Probably get sent back up to this 140 to 150 number over here. You're pretty much there right now. So if the question is it reversing into an uptrend? I would say it's already done that. I guess if you're like super risk averse, you'd wait for the monthly, but I think it's fine to look at it like that from here. If it was going to reject and be bearish, it would have done that, I think, around like 120. And it didn't. It just reconsolidated and moved higher, which is a good sign. So, you know, these large lines, I think, are generally correct. If the question is quite literally has a reverse trend, I would say more or less yes. But, you know, after it gets around this high, I'd be expecting a pullback. Probably tries higher after that. Cool. All right. Yeah, we got... Oh, no, we did not get corked. Okay, corked looking at BE. Okay, symbol B and E. All right, one moment. As long as I got water, we still got fuel to do this live stream. But the second that I run out is the second we're fucked. We got to shut it off after that. BE, so it's... Jesus Christ, man. We've been watching this one now for what, like a couple months? Hit pretty much most of the targets that I'll be looking at. You're at you got up to $300. Nice big round even number. I don't like I've been saying on a lot of these epic rallies. And this is another electronic technology company. I think you're looking at the very end of this rally right now. You know, maybe you try one more rally in next quarter, but I'm looking for highs between already now at $300 and maybe like June, July of this year, or I guess it would be July, August of this year. I don't think you have that much more in terms of time to go to the upside. And if anything, I think you're going to pull back from here in the short term. And, you know, you might come back down all the way to like 250, which is kind of a big pullback. But yeah, a lot of bearish divergence building up on the daily, the weekly, long-term, the monthly. So I think you're about to hit a bit of a correction short term here. Just don't want to see this thing below about 230. As long as it's above about 230, I would still remain bullish, but I do think you're in for a deeper pullback here. And then maybe in June you try higher again. But I would really, like, if it does try higher, I'm not looking at a humongous move higher. I'm looking at like 325 to 330. That's it. And that's a big if. Look, if you've been riding this thing, man, I think you got to be taking some profits here. Okay, I shouldn't say it like that. I'm not your fucking financial advisor. I would be taking profits here. I'll put it this way. I would be taking profits here. Do you ever use fundamentals in your analysis? Kind of. When it comes to long-term investments, I mean, I don't want to buy like fucking vaporware, obviously, because I'm going to naturally be holding it for, you know, 5 to 10 years. So, but like when you say fundamentals, that means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Really, what people think of when they think of fundamentals is like, oh, it's the narrative right now, which no, fuck that. But if you're talking about like earnings report, if you're talking about forwards outlooks, and yeah, kind of matters. Yeah. Cool. How's the new streaming room work going? It's almost done. I think they're going to finish the flooring once and for all today. We nearly have the new table done, but it's actually funny because once I move into the new streaming room, there's going to be like a starting desk that I start at, and then we're going to build like the proper full on fucking balls to the walls desk. So it's actually the real one is still kind of far away, but we're going to be moving, I think, next week. Cool. All right. Bill Norblatt says, however, I think the bears are going to take it up the ass. Another green close today, and there'll be more upside on this move. I'm not sure which one particularly, but I don't know. I love shit in my ass too. Anyways, we got GFS. Let's go to Eric Latawiak. Hopefully I'm saying that properly, man. Ethereum 4-hour daily. Oh shit, we got real shitcoins back in the game. Why is this one selling off so aggressively? Maybe it's because it's Ethereum. It did hit 2,400. Feel like targets met there. 4-hour daily, you're talking about Ethereum, Bitcoin bouncing in the short term. I don't know about that, man. This thing's pound for pound, certainly not handling this as well as Bitcoin. Look, I do think that this rally likely does extend, but it's completely conditioned upon Bitcoin's ability to do so. Bitcoin is the leader right now. As long as Bitcoin is just not below, 78,150, I don't have a reason to be looking for tops and things, which means that if this thing wants to take another leg up, you will validate a breakout above 2430 on a daily closing basis, and I'll be looking at 2800 or 27 to 2800. Until then, I think it's a lot easier to watch Bitcoin. 4-hour time frame, bearish divergence, a little bit of a pullback. That's fine. It can pull back all the way to like 2275, no problem there. I don't really have a reason to be bearish on this particular one as long as you're above 2220 on a daily closing basis. Yeah, 2220. Until then, it's easier to watch Bitcoin. This thing will follow, more or less. Ethereum, Bitcoin bouncing in the short term. I mean, I don't know. No, this is just pure fucking unadulterated garbage. I've been saying this for a while. This thing wants to come back down to these lows. This is bad. It's very bad. But that's also good for Bitcoin, right? Like, you're not going to get it. There's not even a potential of a bull market with this thing, actually. I mean, yeah, no, absolutely no, dude. Like, oh God, who are you listening to that's feeding you this fucking hopium bullshit? It's absurd. This thing wants to go back down to those lows, and if I had to guess, lower over time. There is no world in which this is a good chart. Like none, fucking none. It's been putting in lower high after lower. It's never had a reversal from cycle to cycle in like a real upside fashion, making new all-time highs. It's only been lower highs the whole way. Like, this is so bad. So fucking bad. It makes me sad. Anyways, we got Prototype. He's looking at long-term or low-term. The problem with saying LTF is that it both means low-term and long-term. I don't know. I'm going to guess long-term. We kind of already looked at this one. I think I was bullish on it earlier, so I don't really have a reason to... It was like bullish with maybe a short-term pullback, something like that. No, it's not the right chart. Let's go to Mexico. Yeah, short-term pullback a little bit. That's fine. 42.5. That's fine. It's bullish as long as you're above 38.5 bucks. I'd be erring on the side of this thing, probably taking a move towards $50. Again, if you see Bitcoin take that next leg up, this thing will follow naturally. The floppening. But here's the thing. I could get very bearish on this thing if it does come back down below $38.5 or $38.70 if you want to be super exact. Until then, I'd err on the side of upside, but short term, I think it pulls back slightly more. Something like that, man. Cool. Let's see. Tom is back. He says, Circle missed $90, long-term hold, wait for Bitcoin pullback. I don't think these two are necessarily like directly going to play hand in hand with each other. In the short term, this thing's a little bit stronger. And do I think it's going to pull back from here? Look, you missed $90. You had the right idea. That was basically the higher low right here. You had the right idea. You were 20 cents off, whatever. Happens, man. If you enter right here, where's your risk? Your risk is it's that same $90. So it is a lot of risk. Now, do I think this one ends up working out? Yes, I have taken position in this as well, as I stated on Monday, because I am okay with this risk. It's a relatively small position, and I like the setup here, and I don't want to wait any longer. Anyways, would I wait for a pullback? The problem is if you pull back from here, it's not necessarily a good sign if it pulls back from here. I guess you could make the argument for $100 just because that's a gap fill, but I don't think it's coming back down to $100 and then going up from there. I think if you come back down to $100, you're doing something else, and this is going to be a lower high. If you're bullish on it, I think you got to kind of treat it as it's going to go up and to the right from here. Yeah. So it's like, even is 110 even like a legitimate pullback? That's a low of today, or even a little bit lower. So yeah, man. I think if you take out those numbers, you're probably just going to go lower. Something else is going on. So no, I personally would not wait for a pullback if I am bullish, just because if it pulls back from here, I think that you invalidate the bullishness more or less. If it pulls back in any like reasonable fashion, especially below $100, but even below 110 is kind of bad enough at this point. Yeah, cool. Un momento. Seems like the older these projects get, the worse they perform against Bitcoin. Look, the one thing that is the most radicalizing about being in the crypto space is that the longer that you're in it, the more and more you realize almost all of it is just completely irrelevant, and Bitcoin is the only legitimate thing that we've come upon so far. It doesn't mean that you can't make money on some of these shitcoins for sure. You can make money on them, but are they going to like stand the test of time? 99.9% of the time, no, they will not. And even the ones that do, like Ethereum, it's like the returns just aren't good. Like it's, even if you're thinking of as like a long-term investor, it's like you don't have the justification even for those positions, in my opinion. Yeah. All right. David Polano says, hello, Krown. Hope everything's going well. All good, man. Can we take a look to shitty chart? How dare you? CSRS. Is it this thing? Because I ain't seeing anything that's literally just CSRS, or is it? Yeah, CSRS. Yeah, I don't think I'm looking at the same thing as you, man. Or at least it's not on TradingView. Like I'm saying, US dollar coin from the central bank, not Circle's dollar token. That's questionably centralized. There's no way the banks let them win. Look, you're arguing narrative. I don't think any of that shit matters personally. I go with the charts. I don't care what the narrative or what the doomerism is. I go with the charts, sir. I go with the charts. Pigs would have to fly. Good luck with that, man. I've heard these things many times. Cool. All right. Low time frame. Yeah, there you go. But the flopping. CRSR. Ah, okay. CRSR. Oh, Corsair. I love this company. Are they good? No. Great product, okay? Really fucking good product. I love their products. Chart, terrible. Fucking god awful. Probably has some more upside here, though. Probably at least get up to like $8. Yeah, man. Is this a reversal? It's a local low, but whenever I see a local low without a higher low, I would not be betting on a reversal. I think you get a popcorn rally here. How high does it go? Who fucking knows? I think at least like $8, maybe even all the way up to $10 if you're lucky. But I'll just be looking for lower highs. Tom says ADI, you said 400 by June, hold till December, $500 maybe. Uh-oh, what's going on here? Feel like we extrapolated a lot. $400 did not happen in June. It happened in May. Krown's wrong. Krown's bad. Kill Krown. Do I think it's going higher? Yeah. Again, like you're in the last throes of this parabolic blow off top. I think you probably go into summer with new highs. You will have stops and goes along the way, naturally. But for right now, this thing wants to go higher, actually, in the short term, which is kind of crazy. Short-term invalidation would be 383. At that point, you're probably looking for a deeper pullback to 350. But long-term, do I think it's going to get up to $500 just by the virtue of already being close enough and that being a nice, big, round, even number? 450 should be kind of like a big area. And then, yeah, if you start to close like weeklies above 450, 453, whatever, probably going to go 500. What is the time frame on that? I don't fucking know. This thing's moving very fast. And like I said, when things start to move fast like this, you're probably near the end. I think you got another couple months probably. Again, there's going to be daily corrections in between, but yeah, these things are going fucking crazy right now, man. Absolutely crazy. Watching the US capture Tether was interesting. I don't know how Long Circle could go without undermining their own game. Fair enough. Mr. Van Doyce says, hey, Krown, what's up, sir? If you had $10, what 5 alts would you pick to be rich? That's easy. None. No, I'm sure there are actually some, but yeah, man. Big Boy George says, GM, sir, has Lunar been done today? No, we could do that really quick. Maybe we shut this one off after this. Boy's starting to get a little bit wrecked here. Luna, look, I have no reason. It's the same thing as what I've been saying for the past couple weeks or past month now. As long as it's above $22.5, $23 on a weekly closing basis, I'm bullish. For the monthly, as long as it's closing above about $25, I'm bullish. Until one of those two things happens, I hold on to my long positions. And if those get hit, then I relent on those positions. I get rid of them. But until then, I'm just holding and I'm letting time work for myself, because higher term timeframes, I think, are still poised for probably 42 is what I'm still looking at. My bunghole hurts from shorting all these green candles. It happens, man. It happens. We all get impaled with the green dildo of destiny sometimes. Zonkert says, what are your favorite stocks, ETFs that you're eyeing? I mean, I have a lot, but these are things that I've already all entered into. So when you say eyeing, I interpret that as like things that you want to get into. There's very few things that I think are worth getting into like at this exact moment. Like if you're trying to position for the long term, I think you kind of got to be a trader in the short term right now, just because I don't think things are going to last that much longer. Integris I like as a setup. This one is one of the few that I think is really setting up for like a big move here. That probably goes on for a long time. That looks very constructive and has been going on for the past 5 years in this consolidation. So I really like that. Other than that, the things that I'm looking to get into are not going to be that long term. Something like Arty, I would like. Something like VCX, I would like for a small position. Other than that, I mean, everything I'm already in, and they're already taken off. So I don't think it's like I wouldn't recommend almost most of these things here. AIQ, I have big positions in, but would I enter in here? No. Yeah, that's all that I can really say about that, man. Circle, I think, is interesting, but not as interesting. Yeah, I think if you're not already in a lot of these moves, you got to either be a trader in the short term and be willing to like really be glued to your screen, because like I said, when these things turn around, it's gonna take no prisoners and it's gonna be really fucking fast. So if assuming you entered in much lower, then yeah, you got plenty of leeway there, and that's okay. You get into real problems, of course, when that's not the case. But yeah. Anyways, Let's see. Just checking in on my other screen over here. Oh yeah, it came in. Fucking yes. Good job. Nice. All right. Super chats are closed. It's also all right. We're closing the damn super chats. Yeah. ENTG. Pretty sure PTJ is on that one. Fair enough. All right. Last one for who did God did. Oh God. Doggy. Does it look ready to pop as the last rotate? I mean, God. Like you don't. You know you don't need to do this. You don't need to find a terrible chart and try to get into it. I mean, it's already had a pretty nice upside move here, to be fair. It's 31% move. If it does have another leg up, I'd be looking at like 13 cents, which is, to be fair, another like 20% move, which is nice. But look, I think you're just playing a more difficult game here. To be fair, there is good reason to believe that it will have another upside move here, probably closer to 13 cents. But look, to be fair, also, this thing does actually have objectively a significantly better chart than 99% of shitcoins. At least it has higher lows from cycle to cycle. There is that. It's kind of crazy, man. I guess I wouldn't be that surprised to see it go up from here, but look, I just don't think it's going to be the biggest winner. I don't think it's the easiest one. I think it's better to just, find an actually bullish chart and get in on something like that. Probably going to perform better as well, but, do I think it's going to go up more from here? Probably, yeah. Andrew Plus says one more. Okay, last one. Like seriously, last one. ANET. It had bad earnings. Buy. Had bad earnings. Buy. I think this thing's probably put in a top here, man. This one's a tough one for me. I don't know. If I was going to buy it, I'd want to buy it at like 129 and a half, 129 and a quarter. Not because I think that that's like a done deal. It's just because if I need to get out of this thing because it's actually turning around to being really bearish, I wouldn't have to risk as much because the obvious invalidation here is about 120 on any higher term time frame closure below 120. I'd get the fuck out of this thing. Until then, you can kind of make an excuse for it, but I personally wouldn't be looking for this thing. Not here, at least. Like I'd want to see this thing reset for a while. Like this thing, we got a lot more topping signals here than we do for a lot of the other ones. I'd be very defensive against like an actual correction down to $100, honestly, man. So if you really did want to take the position, somewhere around like 130 to 129 makes sense. Invalidation around 120 on a weekly closing basis. You got a lot of signals here that say search for something easier, man. This thing probably is a good, like, very long-term hold, but I think that you get a bigger correction most likely. All right, cool, guys. It's been a beautiful pleasure speaking with you as always on this Wednesday morning. We'll be back on with another live stream on Friday, of course, and then Thursday tomorrow we'll just do another, like 10-minute, 15-minute upload. Probably put some more like long-term thoughts together on that video tomorrow. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. Really been enjoying these streams. Hope everyone's doing well, and yeah, we should come back tomorrow. Until then.